Wonderful crowd I'm looking out here at. So welcome. Who has never heard about Metabolix so far? Who doesn't know anything? Raise your hand just so I can get a feel of the group. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so and you were not at the makeover, so you didn't hear about anything at the makeover. Okay, great. So I have a few people in here. So I'm going to make sure I get to speak to the whole crowd in here today and touch on all the points. We actually launched Maximize Metabolix at the makeover here just last week, and we are super, super excited about it. Before we get into just kind of explaining the makeover, I want to see how many people are participating in the 20 and 30 plan. Okay, so if you saw the green board over here and you signed up at the makeover, your name is on the green board on the left, and every week you don't need to put your starting weight or your end, where you are in pounds, but you want to put on there how many pounds down, or how many inches down, or how many belt loops down, okay? That's a good kind of an indicator. And then the overall at the end, we do want to know like what the total is at the end, so you can kind of keep track of it on our 20 and 30 challenge poster. Just put if you're not on there, you can put and you want to do it, you can put your name, your first name, and just the first initial of your last name if you want to. There's a couple spots still left on the bottom there. We're actually using, if you haven't started and you want to do it, we're using the 20 and 30 plan that's in your cruise ship book. Okay, so everybody should have, do we have any guests, people who are not patients here? Any guests? Everyone's a patient. Okay, good. So you should all have your 20 and 30 books. So this book is what we're following. If you haven't started and you didn't join us last week, you can join us now, not a problem. We're following it in our household. Our kids are loving and hating us. So this is kind of our way of our lifestyle anyway, but we took the oranges out of the house, so they're not having oranges and just green apples and berries. So anyway, if you want to join us, join us. And who came to shopping day? Did anybody go to Costco shopping day? How was it?
Good.
Do you guys like it? We're going to probably do some more shopping. Would anybody else be interested in going to Costco and kind of getting a tour of how you can save money and maybe buy some healthy stuff? Okay, good. So we'll do that again. I think Dr. Becky would be interested. 3/4 of the room is interested in doing that. So we'll do it again. See that, Dr. Becky? Dr. Becky was fabulous, was she not, at shopping day? Yeah? She's fabulous. We'll do it again. Yep. Let me make sure I get through all my housekeeping here. We also have, dinner plans for Monday. Where are we doing dinner, Dr. Becky? Abuelos, okay. We are actually probably full for the dinner. So if you did get yourself signed up and you have a guest, make sure, if you haven't already, that you get that confirmed with the girls at the front desk, because we are almost at capacity, if not at capacity. Just want to make sure everybody gets their spot for that. And I think, let me see if there's anything else housekeeping we're going to do. Did everybody get an LRQ? Do you know what LRQ is? Okay. So I'll have them up here for you if you didn't get an LRQ. We gave these at the makeover. This is your lifestyle risk questionnaire. You want to make sure you pick up one of those as well. Now I want to make sure that you're aware, if you did not get tested, you're about to learn what that means. If you did not get tested, we only have 11 kits in house left. So if you did not get tested, we ran really low of tests, and because this has been such a super popular thing and a lot of people really want to make sure you're getting tested, if you want to do that, we are doing $50 off on the testing for today only. So if it's something that's really important to you and you really want to do it and you find that you're like, I really need to, we only have 11. I thought we had 8, but Dorota's saying we have 11 kits left. So the girls will be up the front and they'll be able to get that for you as well, okay? All right, so Maximize Metabolix, the CMA and Maximize Metabolic Nutrition. I want to just kind of share with you what Maximize Metabolix was actually birthed from pain, actually. For those of you who know the story behind Dr. Charlie Majors, do you guys know the story behind him, how he ended up with brain cancer? He's one of our Maximize Living doctors. And so what we found is, through the pain that we went through, we needed to do some extra specialized testing that we didn't have available to us at the time. And so Metabolix came from the painful process of, you know, him developing cancer and us not being able to test the urine and test the blood at this specialized cutting edge rate to be able to find stuff in our pathways that are that's broken in our pathways. And I'm going to walk through 8 major pathways that we all have. And we were able to, through the process, send our stuff. We actually were sending our blood and our urine, everything off to Spain. Well, I don't know about you guys, but the price of it was $1,500 when we did it, and that's really not reproducible. So it birthed from pain, and then the process that we went through was super expensive. And so through this process, we were like, we have to get this to the world, because what we found is how important the x-ray is to your spine, and knowing what's going on with the curve values and knowing where your spine is shifted. That important system, your nervous system, runs everything. We also found that knowing what your blood and your urine look like, that was another really important fingerprint that we needed to know. And the thing about Metabolix is this is very individualized. It's very customized. So when we get you tested, this is customized to your own body. This is what your body is, where it's broken, where the pathways are being interfered with. We're able to find those things through this testing, okay? So it kind of gives you kind of a little bit of a big picture of where we came from with Metabolix. When I mentioned, did you get your lifestyle risk questionnaire? We want to make sure that everybody fills this out. If you don't want to do the testing, that's fine. Fill it out anyway. That gives you an indication of kind of where you are. The test will be up here at the front. And when you're done, drop it off at the front desk so the girls will have it for your file, and we'll kind of know what we need to do for the future. Okay, so just make sure you get a copy of that. So why we use lab testing, we kind of got into that. I don't know, I'm going to show you this slide here, and it's going to freak out most of you probably. Did you guys all, do you remember taking biochemistry? Did you just hate it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you loved it. A few nerds loved it, right? You loved it. So I'm not going to go through this pathway, I promise. I just want you to see that this is the big picture kind of behind what we're testing and what shows up on your test results. It's all these metabolic pathways, okay? And so the first thing, the things that you can see up there at the top, can everybody read what it says at the top? So where do we get those from? Food, okay. So what's really awesome about this test is we're actually going to be able to see what you're eating, what you're eating too much of, what maybe you're not eating enough of. In addition to that, we'll be able to see what vitamins you need to be taking, and the vitamins that you're taking, if they're working, you know, how much you need to be taking. Maybe you're taking too much. Maybe you're not getting the right amount of anything. So this test will be able to give us an indication of specifically what we need to do for each individual person, okay? But I promise I won't teach you the Krebs cycle. Okay, so what causes us to age? There's 5 key mechanisms that cause us to age, and these first 5 over here on the left-hand side, we actually will be testing those. Those are in the kits, okay, when we go through and we test for those. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to back up in just a second, and I want to make sure, does anybody kind of wonder, how do we take this test? Like, how do we do it? Okay, I'm going to make sure and show you the test kits and give you kind of a brief overview of what you need to do with the test. And so maybe I'll do that right now before I get into the meat of it. So the test kits look like this. And maybe I can get, Hadassah, you want to hold up one of these for me? Of course. Okay. So the test kits look like this. This is the display that we have in the office. For those of you who bought the test kits, this is the fatty acid test kit, and it's actually super simple. The thing I'll just show you is that inside the test kit, there's a little packet that looks like this. And can you see the 4 circles? Everybody see the 4 circles? Really, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking a sample of your own blood. You're going to stab there's a little, what do you call those little things? It's got a little poker on it, lancet. You're going to do your middle finger, and then you're going to let your blood drip onto the 4 circles and fill in the spots here. Okay, so it's really super simple. For those of you who have a hard time getting blood, it's got like 5 different steps that you can walk through to help you. Mine flew out. I mean, it was really fast. But for those of you who have a hard time, it gives you some instructions of kind of what to do with that. The important thing about this is you just want to make sure that you not just read the instructions, but you read the shipping instructions before you determine the date you do the test. The test is super easy, but if you do the test and it needs to ship out on Thursday, like the blood does, and you do it on Friday, then your sample's bad. And the company, they won't receive your sample when you send it out. So it's just really important that you not only read the directions, but read the shipping directions before you determine the day you take your blood, okay? It's a very simple test.
They changed it. You can send the blood out Monday through Saturday, but the urine has to be sent out by Thursday.
Is that what it is? Okay. So just read through. That's the biggest thing. Like I just said, everybody shut up, leave me alone, get away from me. I need to just be quiet and read the directions. So that's the biggest thing about doing the fatty acids and doing both of the tests. So that's the fatty acids. Now the organic acids looks like this, and this is really, for this test, all you're doing is you're taking a sample of your urine. Okay, so you're going to collect your urine first thing in the morning. You're going to fast at night, read the directions. Don't worry about having to remember what I'm saying right now. You're going to fast the night before, take your urine in the morning, and then you're going to send your sample in. Just read the shipping instructions and make sure you send everything with it and fill everything out completely. It's not difficult. It's not super complicated. The other beautiful thing is we've tested every one of the staff members, so you can ask any one of them at any time, what do I do here? Do I fill this out? And they'll be able to help you, okay? So it's that simple to be able to do the blood and the urine. Good? You guys good with that? Does that help you? Okay.
I've got a general question about before you do either one of those 2 tests. If you're in the 30-day cell detox, will that affect it? Or
that's a good question. I meant to mention that. The beautiful thing about these tests is you don't have to stop your medications or stop your vitamins. You just continue them. There's a form in there that you'll fill out, and you'll check off what vitamins you're taking and what medications you're taking. So there's it's really no restrictions. It's really nice. That's what's also very nice about the test. Yeah.
And so, do you choose one or the other? Or is it
That's another good question. You want to do both of the tests, because when you look at this pathway here, it's really important for us to be able to know which part is broken, to have both the blood and the urine. It helps us. I think I had 2 people accidentally just buy one of the tests, and they didn't know. You need to make sure that you buy both of them. So that's a good question. Just make sure you buy both of the tests. Make sense? Okay, good. All right, so what causes us to age? These are 5 things that we're going to be measuring so that we can find out, the cause of the weight gain, maybe the reason why we're gaining weight, or maybe the reason why we're not gaining weight. We're malnutrition. These pathways will be tested for that. There are several markers for cancer, so we can find cancer. We can find precursors to the development or the predisposition of cancer. Heart disease, we can find exactly what's going on with the cholesterol, the size of the cholesterol, like what's going on, and it's very, very sensitive to be able to test for that. So that's really huge. Diabetes, if you have a propensity to be diabetic, if you have no symptoms, but you have a propensity, like that's the direction of where you're going, we can see if that pathway is broken, and we'll be able to catch it way before anything develops. If you already are diabetic, we can see what's going on with what you're doing, if what you're doing is working or not working, and we can help you. Because we had 20 cases last year no longer diabetic, and the cases of the patients who actually did everything that we told them to do, their body healed. And so you can heal your metabolic pathways. Type 1, yeah. Type 2, yeah. Anything with any sugar imbalances, those can be healed because it's your metabolic pathways, okay? So lots of different diseases and mechanisms here. Wouldn't you want to know what could keep you from going from the left side to the right side as fast? Wouldn't you want to kind of slow that down if you had the ability to do that? Would you guys? Yeah. Imagine if the right side was your knee, the aging of your joints. Wouldn't you want to know if you're kind of wearing out your joints too fast?
Yeah.
What if it was your liver?
Yeah.
You know, and your liver does what? What does your liver do? Right. If your liver, the pathway's broken in your liver, wouldn't you want to know that?
Yeah.
So that's what's really beautiful about this, is we're going to be able to see those things. There was a study done with mice, transgenic mice and normal mice. Now, for those of you who don't know, transgenic mice, they actually have, they're known for accelerated aging. So they did a study with these mice, and what they did was, their factors for anti-aging that they used were mobility and cognition. So the mouse was able to remember the maze and do things over and over again, so it can remember, it tested those things. And then the ability for it to move. And what they did was they added 31 different supplements that are known for anti-aging. And when they gave the mice these supplements, they found a 29% improvement in their aging process. I mean, their improvement for them, for even the transgenic mice who actually are known for aging, and even in the normal mice. So they found improvement when you're given supplements to actually help anti-aging. Now, they weren't tested to see specifically which ones they needed, but that's really powerful to see that supplementation and the right kind and the right amount actually can help us in decreasing the aging process. So how do we use the lab testing? We just went over that. And what does CMA test for? What I need you guys to understand, that word Metabolix, Maximize Living coined it. It's your metabolic system, okay? Now, you have a metabolic pathway, or we're going to call it Metabolix pathway. You have a Metabolix pathway for your vitamins, for blood sugar imbalance, for inflammation, for oxidative stress, for toxicity or your ability to detoxify, for GI stress, for stress hormone imbalance, and for fatty acids. You have a metabolic system. Every one of these pathways is going to be tested through the customized metabolic assessment. Does that make sense? Now, some of you, there's words up there that you don't really know what they mean, but I'm going to walk through them. We're going to do that today, okay? So health concerns that the customized metabolic assessment addresses. Some of the symptoms we have showing up, and then we have the underlying factors, which are the biomarkers. That word right there in the middle under underlying factors, the biomarkers, those are things that we'll be measuring in your tests. And then the diseases that we can prevent or defeat or overcome over there on the right. So some of the symptoms like sleeping, why am I not sleeping? Right? Why am I still depressed even though I got off, you know, certain kinds of medications? Or why is my energy so poor? These pathways will be able to test for those things. So the ABCs of organic acids. Dr. David showed you guys this slide at the makeover this past weekend. The really important kind of the ABCs of it, the importance, the basics of it, is to understand that in order for you to get, let's say D on this side is actually energy. In order for you to have energy, the pathway has to go from A to B to C to D. And at every step of the way, you have to have specific coenzymes, cofactors. Does that make sense? There are specific things that your body must have in order to create the end product, okay? Those are your biomarkers that we're measuring. So if you see here, see where the urine comes out right there? If you are missing, let's say in B, you're missing the specific mineral or a cofactor for that particular part of the pathway, then the biomarker, it'll spill out in the urine and we'll see it when you do your urine test. Does that make sense? That's the indication we can see that the pathway is broken, okay? And when we go through that, we'll be able to see how many breaks there are in there. That'll give us specifically an idea of how much you need to take as well, okay? So maybe it's not just the standard daily allowance. Maybe it's 10 times the amount of standard daily allowance. Like in Dr. David's case, I'll share with you guys in just a minute. So So vitamin deficiencies. Metabolic pathway for vitamin deficiencies. The biggest part, you guys have heard of the mitochondria, right? Does everybody know what it does? Like, what does it make?
Energy.
Right, it makes energy, it makes power. It's where your energy comes from, okay? And so in your mitochondria, some of the symptoms that can show up when the mitochondria isn't doing what it's supposed to do, let's say you're not getting the right food that you're supposed to be, let's say part of the mitochondria, the function of it's broken down. Some of the symptoms that show up are the popular chronic fatigue syndrome, right? Fibromyalgia. The new one that's out called Metabolix syndrome or Syndrome X, right? These are things that we're going to be able to test and find just by doing the testing, is testing your energy pathways. How many would like to have a little more energy? Yeah. Okay, so I like this picture because it just shows that through your food, you know, broken down into protein, carbs, and fats, you can see the purple, all those biomarkers for each one of those pathways, and then the end result, you know, getting energy out of it, okay? Now, I know a lot of people have asked me about the Maximize Metabolix book. The book will be out probably in about 2 to 3 weeks, so keep your eyes peeled. This book they only printed a few for doctors only. And so this is the first edition. You guys will be getting the next edition. And there'll be, this book will really walk through the details behind, for those of you that are nerds like me, that are, like I had some patients say, I'm getting on a plane, I just want to cuddle up to the Metabolix book, you know. If you're like me, like that, you're going to get the details behind a lot of this stuff. And in addition, the percentages, we haven't done this in the past, but this book is going to break down the percentages of what you need for protein, carbs, and fats, the percentages of grams and in calories. So we put it all together. We put it together for a pregnant person, for an athlete, for an extreme athlete, and for just the average person. So you're going to be able to see all those details in this book. In fact, I'll be teaching on that too. When we get the results back on this, we'll be able to go through a lot more detail on that. Does that sound interesting? Do you guys like that idea? Okay, good. All right. Some of the symptoms of B vitamin deficiencies, you guys can kind of take a look up there. Poor concentration and memory. You know, for the child who was on an ADHD medication that is no longer on an ADHD or a Focus or a Ritalin or, you know, those types of medication, but yet the behavior is still the same, you might find that you're missing one of those major cofactors, and because they don't have it, they're all over the place in their thinking. Can you guys see that? They can't focus. They're rambunctious. They're running all over, and you're like, oh, I took them off the medication because I know it's not good for them, but man, I need something to calm them down, right? Well, it could be just that part of their pathway is broken. So that's really powerful to be able to understand that through these deficiencies. The B complex, all B complex biomarkers come from protein and carbs. What's nice about this is typically when you would go to your doctor and they test your blood, if you have a B vitamin deficiency, typically you're at an end stage pathology. You're at a diagnosis point. And what we want to do through these biomarkers is we can test the sensitivity through the biomarkers and catch things way before they become a quote pathology or diagnosis, okay? So that's what's beautiful about this. If you've gone to your doctor and they tested you and you're like, my B vitamin's fine, that's just because you don't have a pathology or a disease. But it doesn't mean that your B vitamins are fine. Does that make sense? Yeah. It could be that your biomarkers, you're spilling out, but you just don't have the diagnosis just yet. Okay, some people will show up quickly, some people you're getting your 40s and then all of a sudden everything's falling apart. It's because it's been there so long and we didn't catch it, right? And so we want to catch that before this stuff turns into a diagnosis. Now I'm not going to go through this slide, I promise, other than just to show you, see those big long words right there in the middle, alpha, keto, iso, valerate? See all those? Those are biomarkers. They spill out, and each one specifically gives me an idea of what's going on with which specific B vitamin. So, you know, it'd be good to know that you only need B2 or you only need B6, right? That's what's really cool about this test, the biomarkers. Blood sugar imbalance, really important, you know, blood sugar imbalances. So many people, just like I said earlier, who's the irritable one, you know, when they don't eat, you know, the cranky one, you just want to bite everyone's head off, just put something in their mouth so they'll shut up, right? This is really going to, Dorota's waving her hand, this is really going to be able to test and be able to give you a picture of what's going on with your blood sugar way before it becomes an issue, okay? So that's one of the Metabolix pathways. Inflammation is going to be a really big one. I want to spend some time on inflammation. Many of you have had this particular biomarker tested and you didn't know you had it tested. And when I show you what that is, you'll get where I'm going with this. Inflammation is a huge, this metabolic pathway for inflammation is huge. The major diseases that we're seeing in this time in our lives, the I word is really the culprit, okay? Inflammation. So you guys have had your cholesterol tested, right? So what I want to do with you guys is, some of you are kind of there, and some of you, this may be new information, but you got to look at cholesterol in a whole different way, okay? Cholesterol is actually what we would call the scab on a wound, okay? You cut yourself, your body makes a scab, right? If it didn't make a scab, you would keep on doing what? Bleeding, right? And so the body will make a scab in order to protect and to heal. Cholesterol is that thing that your body calls upon as a protective mechanism to create a scab to heal you from the devastating effects of what you're doing to your body, okay? Could be from a medication, could be from bad eating habits, could be 3 meals a day at McDonald's. I mean, who knows, right? But cholesterol is really important. Can you still hear me? Okay. Okay. So the cholesterol increases when there's damage and inflammation. Its role is to repair damaged tissue. So when you get your blood levels tested, which this Metabolix will test the specific cholesterol particle sizes, there's a lot of different, the LDA isn't just LDA, there's several different parts of LDA. The different parts of your HDLs, it's all different sizes, different parts are important. So this test will test that. Now they used to say, right now they're saying cholesterol ideal is 200. It used to be 300. And so when they lowered the values down to 200, what do you think happened to the drug company's profitability?
Oh, yeah.
You with me? Okay. So there's really some key points that we like to look at and risk factors that we'll be able to look at, rather than some of these silly numbers can be really silly and they're just for the benefit of the drug company. Okay. Now HDL cholesterol ratio greater than 24% is ideal. Some of the causes, what are the causes of this inflammation? What do you think? I mean, what are we doing to ourselves?
Sugar.
What is it? Sugar. Okay, so sugar, I'm going to say bad fats, and I'm going to say when the low fat stuff came out and every marketing, all the marketing said low fat was best, low fat, low fat, low fat. All low fat means, if you really look at the label on the back, is high what? Sugar. So we haven't gotten healthier from this whole low fat agenda. We've actually gotten sicker. And through this process, we've seen more multiple sclerosis than ever. We've seen more Lou Gehrig's than ever. We've seen more people have Alzheimer's than ever before, right? That plan isn't working, okay? That way of thinking isn't working. And so the whole low fat thing, the biggest thing that you're going to see, we're doing a lot of things to hurt ourselves, but I think the sugars and the grains are going to be one of the biggest things, and we're being duped in areas we don't realize we're being duped in, okay? So this chart my husband let me know this was really important when I had this tested. My omega-3s, in your Metabolix testing, it'll test your omega-3s, your omega-6s, and all the specific ones. And the omega-3s on my test were awesome. My husband said they're over here in the 90% reduced risk range on my tests. Now that, he said, was worth $1 million to him because my family, I have a, quote, risk in my family of broken, ruptured blood vessels in the brain. Ruptured aneurysm, grandma, mother, grandmother, aunt, like all of them, ruptured blood vessels in their brain. And so to my husband, that was really important for him to know that the way I'm living my lifestyle and what my test results look like showed that I'm at very huge reduced risk, okay? But when you want to know if you are 4.76, if you're 4.76, you're still at a 50% risk. Make sense? So you want to know what specifically you need to be doing. Do I need to be taking more fish oils? Do I need to take more omega-3s specifically? Maximize Living has come out with just a specific product that's only omega-3s. Maybe you need to be taking some more omega-3s in your food instead of supplements. Maybe you're getting too much of something. This test will be able to give us specifics on that, okay? So oxidative stress. The easiest way I can explain oxidative stress is if you can picture taking an apple, and if I just set an apple on the counter here, how long do you think it would take before it goes bad? Kind of rots. How long? Just give me, I mean, how long would you sit it in your house? Like if you set an apple out on the counter, 2 weeks maybe? 2 weeks. 2 weeks probably, you know. Now if I take that same apple and I take a bite out of it, and I set it on the counter, how long will it take for that apple to rot? It won't take long at all. It turns brown pretty quick, doesn't it? Yeah. That's oxidation, okay? That's like the best way you can kind of describe or think about oxidation. And think about that's going on in our bodies all the time, in our knees, in our back, in our, you know, in our heart, in our lungs. That's going on in our skin, the extra wrinkles we're getting, the hair turning gray. That's oxidation. And so wouldn't you want to slow that down if you could? Yeah. I do. So oxidation. Now I want to share with you one of the stories with my husband, for those of you who actually weren't at the makeover. So one of the things, I know you guys would all be shocked. My husband has so much energy, right? You see him jumping around. Some of you are like, man, if I can just get some of that energy, right? So when we tested him, we actually found that his energy pathways, almost all of them were completely shot. And so when we looked at his charts, all the numbers, you see 7 through 14, every one of them were high. So we were looking at a severe deficiency before we knew we had a severe deficiency, right? And so every one of those biomarkers were able to give me not only what he had going on, but also was able to give me how much he needed to supplement from his food and from CoQ10 in order for him to help heal that pathway, okay? And so after we do this for a period of 8 to 12 weeks, then we retest and we see, have we healed the pathway and what is left that is going to be his new maintenance. Make sense? So it's kind of like your spinal correction. You go through a process, you're aggressive, you're getting after it with your spinal correction, and then you find what is the thing you need to be doing every day to maintain that correction. Same thing happens with your metabolics, okay? So huge to be able to see that for him, and now you see him popping CoQ10 all day long, but the minimum amount is very interesting. The minimum standard daily allowance is 50 milligrams, between 30 and 50 milligrams. And when we got his test results back, we found he needed to take 600 milligrams. Now, if he was just taking the 30 every day, are we going to get anywhere? No. He's gonna be, but I'm taking CoQ10, right? He needed a mega dose, and we didn't know that until we tested this pathway. Make sense? I think I had a question.
Say again how, when you retest?
So you retest about 2 to 3 months. After the day that you start, you'll retest in about 2 to 3 months.
Does that extra test cost?
Yep, every test. Yeah. That's right. What was your question?
What is that?
What is what?
Just the seal.
Oh, CoQ10. It's another essential supplement. In fact, I'll show you Maximize Living's new CoQ10 here. We don't have them out there for you guys yet. Energy, it's part of the energy pathway. So you can see for energy production, for each one of those biomarkers on the left, there are specific elements, cofactors, nutrients, enzymes that you'll need in order for those pathways to actually heal. And it could be magnesium, it could be, be a specific B, it could be CoQ10, it could be amino acids. CoQ10 is really famous for people who have been on cholesterol medication. The studies show a massive depletion in CoQ10, which puts your heart at risk and in a major way. And so for myocardial infarctions, things like that, it puts you at risk for that. So CoQ10 is very important. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah, does that mean that he's to have more energy?
I know. I know, aren't you scared? I'm scared too.
Ubiquinol is supposed to be a more efficient, stronger, and better.
Whatever is needed, that's what this will be.
Ubiquinol is CoQ10, but supposedly in a more digestible form.
I'm not doing all the research. Our people are doing it. We let them do the research for it. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not. I mean, I'm a nerd, but I'm not like that kind of nerd. Okay, so we'll get into toxicity. Really exciting to know, like I talked to you guys about this. I'm not going to go through this whole chart, but the biggest point, do you guys know what organ that is? Okay, so the biggest, most important thing is you can see toxins over there on the left, top left-hand side. What you want to know, very important, is that when you have yourself exposed to a toxin, that toxin can go through step 1 and through step 2, and eventually it's removed from the body through your bowel movements and through urine, right? Don't you want to know that? You're getting rid of it. Yeah. So toxins are, I'm not going to get into all the different ways you're getting toxins, and we did that at the toxicity makeover, but your shampoos and your lotions and the spray, the air fresheners in the bathrooms, and right, your pans. There's just so many different ways. It's overwhelming the number of toxins you get exposed to. And so we want to make sure that we're not breaking down in this pathway. There's specific elements and nutrients that you must have in order for the toxins to get through to step 1. If you don't make it to step 1, through step 1, because you don't have what you need for that process, then you will not remove the toxins. And what do we know about toxins? Where are they stored? They're stored in fat. So for those of us who are like, man, I just can't lose that stinking weight, right? Well, if you have toxins, your body is doing the right thing by protecting you. I know it seems ridiculous, but that extra fat is protecting you from the toxin destroying the most important system in your body, which is what? Your nervous system, right? So I think about Dr. Greg, the co-founder of Maximize Living. He had his blood work done for his life insurance policy. And when they tested his blood, his cholesterol levels were like, that said 200 ideal. I think his was like 2,400. It was like way off the chart. And he's like, that's wrong, retest it. Retested it again, and it was like, over 2,400. And so the doctor's like, well, you need to be on Lipitor. I mean, the co-founder of Maximize Living, you need to be on Lipitor, right? How silly is that? He's like semi-pro cyclist. He exercises all the time, eats perfect, takes care of his spine. 2,400 in the cholesterol. But what did I tell you what cholesterol is? What is it?
It heals.
It's a scab, right? It's a Band-Aid to protect your body from anything that's trying to harm you, right? So it's doing the right thing by raising up. But what do we want to know? We want to know, well, what's causing that, right? Well, further testing, and he found out that he had been bit by a tick. Now, what happens with ticks? What do they try to destroy? They try to destroy your nervous system. They chew and eat your nervous system. And so if it's trying to chew and eat your nervous system, then what's going to increase to protect your nervous system? Cholesterol. Can you guys see how looking at cholesterol in a very different light is really important? Can you see? Does that make sense? So in this case, you want to make sure that what is missing And how can we get through these steps so that we can actually eliminate the toxins that we're exposed to? Now, GI stress, gastrointestinal stress. The biggest thing I want to walk through is just kind of normal function of your GI, okay? So normal function of your GI. So before, right here on this side, before the pink, is your stomach, okay? So just imagine that here's your stomach here on this side, okay? The long tube right here where it says duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, that's your small intestine, okay? All the tubing inside there, so all this small intestine in there, okay? Then the chunk on the end there, that's your colon, okay? Now I want you to look at the graph, the chart here on the right, the different colors. That gives you an indication of what normal bacteria and the amount of normal bacteria, what it should be at each phase along the colon, along the digestive system. Can you see that? So how much bacteria is there in the first couple phases right there in the small intestine, the duodenum and jejunum? No, pink. Look, there's just not a lot, right? There's not a lot, right? And then when you get into the ileum, it's a little bit more, right? Right? A little bit more. But where is the majority of the good bacteria? This is a normal. Remember, this is a normal function. It's in your colon, right? Okay. So that's your body having the right amount of critters in there. We heard the term probiotics, right? That's good bacteria. Okay. So what happens when we've taken one antibiotic?
Destroys bacteria.
So the thought process is you go to the doctor, you got, bacteria in your throat. They give you a diagnosis of strep throat or something. And the thought process is, I have to take an antibiotic, right? That's the typical medical thought process, right? So when you take the antibiotic, you think, oh man, I knocked that out. But what else did you do?
All the bacteria.
You knocked out all your good bacteria. Now go all the way back to the beginning in the first chart I showed you, the metabolic pathway. Can you see the metabolic pathway in your mind? Okay. If you wipe out all your bacteria and you can't digest food, what do your metabolic pathways look like? Can you see how one simple act of taking one antibiotic can destroy 8 different major pathways, and all of a sudden you can't sleep and you don't know why? Can you guys see that? Mm-hmm. Now complicate that with, a food poisoning. You go on a trip and you get a food poisoning, and you are taking other medications as well. You think your digestive system needs to kind of know what to do with that? Now I'm going to show you something here. There's a new term, SIBO. You guys have heard of it? Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That's becoming very popular, that term. So when you get an overgrowth of bacteria, okay? Now I want you to take a look at the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Where should the majority of the bacteria be? Now in this slide, where do you see the majority of the bacteria? It's all the way into the small intestine. Now that's where you're supposed to be doing, look at the top slide right there. What does it say? Digestion and absorption is what? What does it say? Complete. So you're completing your digestion and the absorption of your food in that part of your digestive system. Now, I took an antibiotic scenario, and now what's happening with this bacteria? It's getting into the small intestine here. If it's in my small intestine, am I digesting and absorbing my food? No. So when we look at your x-rays, and we took your x-ray and we said, man, you got a lot of gas on your x-ray, right? For those of you who've seen that, right? We can see it on your x-ray. We can see there's a problem already on the x-ray because you're not digesting your food. Does that make sense? So this person is going to Whole Foods and they're spending all kinds of money on all the quote right supplements, and they got gas all the time, doubled over in pain from from the stomach pain that they're having, or digestive pain, or they eat and everything's running through them, the irritable bowel, right? This is the kind of stuff that happens. We get an overgrowth of the wrong kind of bacteria because we do something in one occurrence of, taking something like an antibiotic. I'm using that as an example. And then we wipe out all the good stuff, and then we get this overgrowth. You see how this just can become this one moment in time that 20 years or 40 years later you're still dealing with, okay? If you're not absorbing and you're not digesting your food, all those pathways are going to be broken for such a long period of time. That's when we end up getting all kinds of weird diagnoses. Or we're depressed, or we have anxiety, or we can't sleep right. You see? See how that makes sense? Okay, does this help you guys? Yes. Now the Metabolix testing will be able to tell us exactly if you have a yeast, if you have a fungus, if you have some sort of bacteria in there. And the wonderful thing is that Maximize Living over the past year has been working on the best solutions to answer the problem. See, we weren't going to show you all this until we had a solution to the problem, because there's not a lot of solutions out there. Okay? Okay, so stress hormone imbalance. We have 2 more things we're going to cover, okay? Stress hormone imbalance. So one of the major hormones that we see that we can get an imbalance is this too heady for you guys? Am I losing you, or is everyone good? Okay, I know it can be heady. You're shaking your head, yes, it's heady. Yes. It's heady, but is it good? Yeah. Does somebody feel like they have hope in the room? I mean, like, oh, finally an answer. Thank you, Jesus, that's good. Okay, so phase 1, so your adrenal gland, that first phase, it starts out with that wired and tired kind of feeling, okay? Wired and tired. And then when you get into that second phase of adrenal dysfunction, that's usually when you get it's just done. The adrenal gland's just completely done. The beautiful thing is that the customized metabolic assessment is actually going to test for 4 major stress hormones. And so if you want to know what's going on with your neurotransmitters, why am I anxious? Why do I feel like I can't put my anxiety meds away? I don't want to take them because I know they're not good for me, and Dr. David's been harping on me about it, but I can't think straight. I can't focus. Well, the beautiful thing about it is this is going to be able to tell us what's going on with those major pathways. Now, what I will tell you on my tests, I found, when you go back to the B vitamin deficiencies, I found that I had 0 B vitamins. Like none. Every B vitamin that there was in the pathway. Now, B vitamins affect a lot of the other metabolic pathways. And so my serotonin levels were in the toilet. Now, serotonin levels, what that means and what it means to me is that I've confessed to a couple of you that Halloween is like, I hate Halloween. Did I tell you why I don't like it? Why? Anybody know? Because I crave sugar like crazy. The only time of year is at Halloween, right? So my kids will go, yeah, I saved the Reese's peanut butter cups for you, Mom, It's like, why is it only that time of year? And I kept thinking, is this like a childhood issue? Like, do I need to go to my max? Like, what is going on with me, right? And so I actually, when I got my test, I felt freedom for the first time because of that anchor, that thing that was around my neck at Halloween. And the reason why is because during the summertime, when the sun is out, I'm at the pool every day, all day long. If I'm not here, I'm outside, right? So all that vitamin D, all the sunlight helps with your serotonin levels. So I was self-medicating with the sun to keep my serotonin levels up, right? Because my B vitamins were in the toilet. Do you guys see? Mm-hmm. It's like Dr. David says he self-medicates by getting hugs from you guys. That helps his energy. Well, I'm doing that with the sun, right? So now I find I'm B vitamin deficient. I put my B vitamins back in my body, and I don't have any cravings for sugar. Because do you see how that? Can you see how that works? So you're craving sugar because your energy in the toilet in October because I'm needing sunlight. I have no B vitamins. Can you see how that all works? That's what's so powerful about this testing. So you'll be able to test for each one of these pathways and see. Now the other thing that's important is some people have are on an antidepressant right now and you don't want to be on it. And every time you try to get off of it, you're not right. And you find that you have to keep going back to it, right? I've tried it for 20 years to get off. I hear this story over and over again. Well, why? If we can find out what's going on in the pathway that makes you feel like you need this medication and we can heal that, then your success rate of being able to get off of this deadly medication is going to go what? Up. Right? Through the roof. Some of you have taken the antidepressant medication and you took yourself off and you're never going back. You just drew a line in the sand, but you still don't quite feel right. Okay? This test will be able to find out why, specifically why you don't feel right, and be able to give you the amino acids, the precursors, what you need to be able to help heal those pathways. Is that exciting?
Yes.
Yeah? Good. Okay, last one, the fatty acid imbalance. So fatty acids are huge. I've actually been doing a lot of research to prepare for when we get all of your results back, including all my staff and the other people that we've been working with, to simplify fatty acids. You know, what is this omega-3 and 6s and 9 and oleic and arachidonic? And would that be good? Would you guys like that?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been really working on that. I have like 4 books, major research books that I'm doing at home just to try to simplify that process so that we can explain it and we can all walk away and have some tools in your wheelbarrow so you know what you're eating. What do I need to eat more of? That's what I'm gonna walk through for you guys. But the biggest, so inflammation is one of the biggest things that you see with fatty acid imbalances, okay? Every disease that you can think of is affected by fatty acid imbalance. So you want to know, am I getting the right amount of omega-3s? Do I have too many omega-6s? Am I getting, you know, are the omega-6s that I'm getting? I had a patient actually text me the other day or email me and she said something about it was a certain oil that was really good. And it was known to be good for whatever it was. But it was an omega-6 oil. But if we can get the same end result with an omega-3 oil, probably where we want to go, right? And so really important, these oils that we understand, which ones should we cook with? I'm going to come out with some new oils that none of us are even aware of that we can cook with, and we're going to enjoy it. For those of us who don't want everything to taste like coconut, we'll give you some other solutions. Some people are laughing, right? Yeah. I have a couple other really wonderful oils that I'm going to introduce you guys to that are really good that you can cook at high heat and you don't have to worry about that. But so your fatty acid imbalance is really, really important. When your fatty acid imbalance gets out of whack, you know, those are the people that are like, man, this knee will not heal. My back still hurts. My shoulder. It's because the joint is inflamed. The cell membrane is not getting what it needs. You've got too many of the wrong oils. Even if you think they're good oils, it's out of balance. So you want to know what those are. What's really great about this testing is I'll be able to see, you know, you need to eat more flax oil or seeds. Put them in your shake. You need chia seeds. We'll be able to give you the specifics that you need for your body. Okay, that'd be good. Put those in your shakes, yeah? So case study, we had a guy who's a famous radio personality was dealing with depression, and we actually had him tested. And his major complaints that he was having was insomnia, anxiety, depression. He was even having suicidal thoughts, challenged with losing weight, headaches, diarrhea, cracks right around the perimeter of his mouth, and eczema. What's really cool about these tests is inside each one of them is what's called a, let me give it to you. It's called a Metabolix. It's a personal health assessment. So you'll be able to check off some of the symptoms that you have in every system in your body and put that in there so they gather all the information and they're able to find the specific, see this guy's, he has had major stress, divorce, and he's been on Effexor for 10 years. When we tested his customized metabolic testing, we found that he had 2 major biomarkers off for is B complex, inflammation 2+, toxicity 2+, stress, GI, and fatty acid, all 3+ biomarkers in those areas. So you see, well, hello, no wonder we're having all these problems up there, right? And the interesting thing about it is it could have been just that one episode of taking that antibiotic, right? It could have been just that started this situation, and he could have been 18 years old. And he's 42 now, right? Stuff that we do, we just don't realize the effects on it later in life. But this guy was able to go through the Metabolix, get retested, and get his life back. And that's what we're looking for, hope, right? To be free from the bondage that we have from our health issues. Yes?
How long does it take to get good results?
So we'll send you, if you buy your kit today and you take it home and do it, from the time that you ship it off, I should have the results in about 3 weeks. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so back to this again, okay? So we're going to be able to see all these little, the little boxes, like you can see B3, magnesium, manganese, can you see all that? B1, B2, B3, all the little tiny little boxes you can hardly see on there. That's what's really cool. We're going to be able to see what's going on in the pathway and what specifically you need to do. That gets me excited to want to learn biochemistry again, you know? So that's it for today, and I'll take questions if you guys have some specific questions, and I want to make sure you guys know kind of the upcoming events that we have coming up, and also let you know that I think, do we have only 8 or do we have 11? Because I thought you said we only have 8 tests left.
We have actually, I don't know.
8 complete tests.
At this point, a lot of people bought, so I have no idea.
Okay, so we did have, before we started, between 8 and 11 test kits. If you buy today and we don't have test kit, you get your kit next week. For those of you who were able to pick up your test kit, $50 off. If you buy today and there's not here, I'll still give you the $50 off discount. That's fine, okay? So, yes?
What is happening with these tests, and what are you getting back that's different than going locally and just getting blood work at your own work?
What is happening with the test? Well, Maximize Living, we custom made these. From working with doctors in Spain and finding out what was missing with these specific disease processes, it's been a long time. Have I been talking to you guys for like 6 months at least about this? We've known about this for probably a year and a half. We've been working on it.
But what's different from the blood test results you get at a doctor's office than this?
Oh, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
When you went back to the other slide there, when you go to the doctor's office, the blood test, that's usually for end stage pathology and disease. Okay? What this does is it checks you way before any diagnosis of a disease comes into play. We're able to catch it and heal the pathway. Your medical doctor, like this is, like in all honesty, I'm the only office in Maximize Living that's doing this now. I'm going to be coaching and training the other doctors to do this because this is so cutting edge. No one knows how to do this yet. So it's very sensitive and it's way before a disease or a diagnosis can take place. It's the piece of the pathway that they don't ever check. You'll never get this at any medical doctor, ever. Yes?
So prevention at its best.
It's prevention at its best, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I've already been diagnosed with 2 autoimmune diseases, so with those diagnoses, would that facilitate?
Helps facilitate the healing process, yep. We'll custom make the program for your specific needs. Yep.
So you never talked about any, I'm calling them supplements in over there.
Yep, you're right. You're right. I didn't. We have, nobody has seen any of these because these are the brand new supplements that Maximize Living has come out with, and no one's carrying them right now because no one's doing this testing. But you will see all the solutions. You will see all these new, they're called Maximize Metabolix. Ideally, these will be the things that you'll take for the 2 to 3 months to heal the pathway, and then you'll go on after you retest your new, whatever your new normal is that you need. That's the whole point behind these, okay? They're very, some of them can be higher dosages too, so that's what these are. You'll see there's about 8 of them right now that we'll have, and Maximize Living has a bunch more that are coming out soon. So yeah, I think there was another one. Okay, so the question was, I didn't say anything about the supplements up here. And so basically what I just, you know, I was just answering a question about that I hadn't seen any of the supplements. So we're answering the need that people will be having. So by the time you get your test results back, I'll have all of what you need, and I'll have a plan for each one of you individually for what your needs are. In my case, when I tested, the only thing I needed was B vitamins. That's it. That's all I needed. In Dr. David's case, he needed a ton of CoQ10. That was the biggest thing that he needed. So we may find that your vitamins, what you're taking right now, what we have you on, it's perfect. We might find that. That would be peace of mind. But if there's one part that's missing, I'm going to be eating sugar every year at Halloween, right? Mm-hmm. Right? You guys see what I'm saying? If there's one piece, I'm missing all B vitamins. Well, B vitamins are essential for every pathway that you have. Does that make sense? So I will have the solution, and I will have the plan for you individually after you get tested. Yeah?
When you get more testing kits in, will you allow people who are not patients yet to utilize the test and come in and pay for those services?
Yes, they will, but they'll be at a different price. You guys, because you're already patients in the office, you get them at the discounted price. Yes, we will have patients in the office that are, I have doctors that I take care of that have their own practices, and they come see me, they send their family, and then they go back there and they do their care in another place. That's fine. Yes. Okay. The answer is yes. So will I allow people who are not patients in the office to be able to get tested? And yes, I will, but because you guys are patients, you get everything at a way, way discounted rate. Okay. I don't know if we told you, we took these tests at $1,500. They're $1,500 a piece for each one of us to get tested and retested. And so when we were able to finally get all this put together and come up with being able to deliver this to you guys at such a discounted rate, at a fraction of a rate, then we were like, okay, we're ready to deliver it. I'm not bringing something in that's ridiculous you're not going to be able to test for. So yeah, it's really awesome. Maximize Living's, 500 offices to be able to do all this, very exciting. Yeah. Next.
So this comes with, when you get the test, it comes with a consultation with you, or is it written out on?
So what's going to happen after you get your test done, you're going to get your test done, Kristen or Sheila will call you, and they'll schedule you for a group, smaller group report like you did your doctor's report. Then I'll take you back, because I'm going to be talking about essential fatty acids. There's a lot of information. It's like it'll be a class, but it's specific to the results. Then I'll take you back in your own private room, and I'll go over your results individual. Yeah.
The results go to you then?
Yeah. I have all the results. I go through all of them. I get your plan put together, just like we already do. And so then we'll come back and we'll get together and do it again. I'm going to teach you guys some really simple stuff that's going to save your life on fatty acids that I'm really excited to deliver to you. So yeah, that's included. That's included. The group report's included in the cost.
I'm just printing more evaluation tests.
LRQs?
Yes, because
okay. So she's getting a few more LRQs, so hang out if you didn't get your lifestyle risk questionnaire. Any other questions? You have one?
Yeah, the second time we get tested, do we get to buy the kit at the discounted rate?
Yes, whatever the rate was that you bought the first time, you're locked in at the retest, as long as it's within that time frame. Yep. Yep. Good question.
I probably spent a ridiculous amount, probably $500 a month on supplements.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about, seeing, a more objective finding. So
I'm with you on that. Making sure that if you don't need a supplement, like Dr. Ben, when he tested, he didn't need fish oils. He was putting too many in, and he was feeling sick every time he took his fish oils. I mean, how nice is that to be able to knock one thing out of your budget, right? I'm all for that. If I don't need it, not get it out of there. So yeah, I spend a lot on supplements too, times 5 of us. So yeah, that's good.
Will you be offering the discount again at future Maximize Living Week?
I cannot answer that right now. Yeah, I don't know, because I'm going to be training them, and I don't know what it's going to look like in the future, because Maximize Living. The other thing that's good about that is that about all of us being tested is we're going to be using these numbers to research what's going on, what's working. I mean, if you are in a Maximize Living office and you live the 5 Essential lifestyle, you should be a shining light to everyone around you. Literally. You should be a shining light to everyone around you. You're an example. You're these guys over here, they're inviting everybody to their church to come and share what we're doing. That's what we should be, right? We want everyone around us to be healthy. If you're living that maximized living lifestyle, there's no reason why you can't live to your full potential and you know, do what God calls you to do. That's what we want for you guys. So any other questions? Yeah? What is the price? The price is normally $3.99 for both tests. Today it's $50 off, so it's $3.49. Yeah, for both tests. Yep. So, any other questions? Good, you guys ready to go? The only thing I wanted to share with you guys real quick was we have a couple, I don't know, you may not know about this, but we partnered with MetroCrest. If you don't know what MetroCrest is, MetroCrest, they are fabulous. They raise food, diapers, clothing for people in our area in need. And we have been partnering with them forever. Well, they specifically told us we need some things badly. They need diapers, they need Depends, and they need canned fruits and vegetables. So, and it doesn't have to be organic. Whatever you have, just bring it, okay? Because these people are starving, they have no food, right? So we donated our time on Monday, and we are going to, in exchange, evaluate your friends and your family that you know has a health concern that has not made it in here yet, and you want them to get checked. Monday, I think we have 5 spots left. If your friends and or family member wants to come in and they bring diapers, Depends, I'm not going to count how much they bring. I don't care. It's up to them, right? Canned goods, fruits, vegetables, Depends. They need these things badly, and we're going to provide it for them. In exchange, we're going to check your friends and family members on Monday. Like I said, I think we have only 5 spots left. So if you have a friend or loved one, get them on the phone before you leave and schedule with the girls up at the front desk. So we're also going to have a party. It's going to be a party in here on Monday. We're going to have olive oil. Our olive oil people will be here, and I made some chocolate hearts for you guys that all of the advanced plan can have. Is that awesome?
Yeah.
So Monday it'll be a party. Everybody likes chocolate.
I'm an influencer, I'm a chocolate.
That's right. All right. So that's, and then don't forget your, check with the front desk if you have dinner reservations and you have a friend, make sure to confirm that, because I think they told me it was full. So I just want to make sure you got your spot. And then the last thing, recipe night. Okay, last thing. Recipe night is going to be on the 24th here in the office. We're going to do something fun for you who like to bake or you don't like to bake. And now you know you need to bake, right? We're going to do a little demonstration of what the old baking items you used to use and now the new baking items for Maximize Living Advanced Plan, Core Plan that you'll use. And we're going to have, Dr. Becky wants to kind of show you some tools that you need to have in your kitchen. And so we're going to do that for the demonstration, as well as try some wonderful advanced plan food, okay? So is that good? Does that sound fun? Okay, so I gave you a lot of stuff. I hope you took notes. I hope it gave you freedom. And I want to pray for you guys right now and just release you to go, okay? Father, we just love you. We thank you. We praise you. Father, we just are so grateful that you have given Maximize Living these wonderful tools to be able to give to your children, to help them find hope and health and freedom. Father, help us to be able to deliver that to them only like you can do, Father, that you would use us to do that. We love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.